I am just plain old me. Plain old me. Alright, normally I'd be trying to crack some jokes. Always fancied myself a real comedian. I think I felt it was my calling. It was, if you couldn't look cool, then you could at least make people laugh, right? Did you see that? And that was one of those things that I didn't even know was going to happen. And they say the sun shines on dogs' ass sometimes. Well, maybe more than sometimes. You know, I always thought that I was so smart growing up that I would just make it, and I didn't. I did well at all. And I just have to ask myself why. I mean, why did I never? I don't know. Why did I never live up to any of my potential? I think that for me, I think my window of opportunity was kind of small. If I'd have made it, I'd have made it fine. But I don't want to get too caught up in the angst of childhood and yesterday and all that kind of stuff. What I wonder about is, how do I do something about myself right now? Because all the stuff that did happen, as bad as it was, it's then. This is now. I look at the history of my family, the history of my parents, and I look at the calendar turning by. I think about how many days do I have left? You know, am I going to wake up in the morning? I don't know. I never thought I would have any children. I mean, I did have children, and I never thought I'd be as bad a parent as I was. And then I was as bad a parent as I was, and I always thought that I would come up with some master plan to redeem it, and done that, and haven't even come up with a way to figure out what to do with myself. So I sit around every day and ask myself, well, you're almost 46 years old. You don't have any particular job skills. You're a smart guy, but you haven't done anything of any consequence. I mean, how do you market yourself to an employer? It's hard to do. So try to think of, what do you do? Look for a get rich quick scheme. I can't even say it. Too complex. I don't have a car, a job, a dollar, or anything else, so I can't very well go work as a salesman, because salespeople normally, you need to be a little bit of a slickster to work in any sales capacity that's going to make any money. Kind of find myself stuck in a rut. I ask myself, what do I do to go submit myself to a year-long rehab of isolation from the world? Well, I've already isolated myself from my children for a lot more than that. My son is already starting to kind of fracture and break with his belief that his father's ever going to come back around to him. When my son was 5 years old, he made his first joke. We were parked in front of the Federal Express store, and it has the name on the front of the building, FedEx, and we're sitting there, and my son's 5, Lena Ray, she was 2, I guess. And we're sitting in a car and nobody's saying nothing. It's kind of quiet. Abruptly, Eric pops up and he says, "Hey, Dad, it's like somebody had a dog named X." And they said, "Hey, I fed X." I was so proud of him. It was his very first made up joke. And it was pretty good. It was good. I was, I was very impressed. I, uh, I used to think that maybe that was my destiny thing was to be a comedian. That was after I figured I wasn't going to be an astronaut, a jet pilot, um, a rock star, uh, a licensed driver, or a free citizen. I guess somewhere after that came a stand-up comedian. I think I actually thought of the idea when I was actually locked up, and I needed something to laugh about, probably. Life is stranger than fiction. I actually the first time I ever cracked a joke was at the Wallace Pack One unit in Navasota, down close to Bryan and College Station. I actually did stand-up comedy for the book Explosion. The education department had some people from Huntsville that came in to see that the inmates were learning something good and useful with the resources that have been allocated to them by the state of Texas. And I got up and I did some stand-up that eventually got me sat down. I had the microphone taken away from me um, after making a joke, which I thought was really kind of it was happened to be the day before we had we'd had hot dogs with they gave us 2 hot dogs with only 1 bun, and so I couldn't help but mention during my ranting and raving that I thought it was a regular prison joke right there in the making. They gave us 2 hot dogs and 1 bun. Now, isn't that prison? Anyhow, that kind of ended my set right then and there. But I I would always like to think that I prided my children on finding something to laugh about and to be happy about, because I guess I learned there's a whole lot in life that is not very funny. I don't know if this thing just went off or what. I guess it's still going. Uh, I sit alone and have a lot of bizarre conversations with myself about life and death and the world hereafter. I don't know if anybody else ever wonders about the same things. I figure everybody else probably does at some point or another. I I guess I just like to think that I had something to say that somebody would like to have heard. I think there's a lot of things about our existence, our world, our history, our our beliefs, our faith. I think there's a lot of things about our faith that we've been told and sold, and we've believed it because we haven't really had an alternative. But I think there are a lot more mysteries than there are answers. And I think a lot of the what we perceive to be answers, are really just the ends of fairy tales that were handed down 3, 4 times over to us. But that's another story for another day. If you have any question about what that might mean, then look up the allegories of ancient Sumerian stories versus stories in the Bible, and ask yourself, how can stories that are in the Bible could have been written 2,000 years before they were supposed to have happened and involved other people. But that's just something for another day. Anyways, that's all for now.